have timelines in particular. I suppose the first question I have is about the transition to the new department. And Minister O'Gorman, you've outlined the way in which the department's new remit will incorporate disability services from the Department of Health and responsibility for equality from the Department of Justice, of course. And this reflects the reality that disability is more than a health matter. It will reflect a rights-based approach, and I do welcome that. But I think it is a mammoth task nonetheless, and I know in previous briefings with your officials that's been emphasised. I mean, Minister Rabbitte spoke about the budget, the massive budget, and I think for people with disabilities it's crucial that the transition is smooth and as swift as possible too. Minister Rabbitte, you're well aware of an issue I raised with you on a commencement matter in the Shannon concerning a child with a serious disability in my own area in Dublin Bay South, and the difficulty we've had getting accommodation for that child who seems to be falling between different departments. And I'm concerned that the transition, this period within which we see so much budget, so many staff transferring between departments, that as a result there have been people left high and dry as a result. So I think that's a real concern. I would ask that you would be very, very concerned to ensure that people do not get left in this way. I know that particular case, Minister, we can speak separately on, but it's a real concern about the transition and that issue. Secondly, I know others have raised the issue of respite, and that's clearly a huge practical concern for so many people. And I wonder, can we get a commitment? I know you've designated, Minister Rabbitte, children's services, day services and respite and home support as essential services during the pandemic. But can the department provide detail as to the sort of targeted supports which can be provided to services unable to open due to social distancing and other public health guidelines? In respect of respite specifically, can we say when community social daycare facilities for older persons are expected to reopen and when respite care facilities for older persons and their families will open? So those are real concerns I know that people have. I have a third question for you both around residential care facilities for persons with disabilities. Again, an issue I know others have touched on too. In my own area, again, I've raised this in the Shannon, and I have met with many of those involved, former residents and staff at St Mary's Telford, a care home in Ballsbridge, run by the Sisters of Charity, which is being wound up, currently in liquidation. So there's a real concern there that the residents who are persons with sight disabilities, vision disabilities, that they are being effectively left abandoned, and that there's no clear pathway for their future care. So this is a real concern. Clearly, I've raised one particular case. It's very much a matter of public record, but there are other centres too, and there's, I know in the papers today, reports of HICWA having concerns about conditions in another care centre in Clondalkin, so for persons with disabilities. So I think we need to ensure a much better continuum of care for persons with disabilities in residential care, particularly where these are their homes, where they've made their home there for many years in some cases. So I know, Minister Rabbitte, you've spoken about that, and I just wanted to raise that issue with you and to see what is the future plan for that. I very much welcome the time frame you've given Minister O'Gorman on the ratification of the optional protocol, on the establishment of the Disability Participation and Consultation Network, on the commitment to ensuring that persons with disabilities and indeed disabled persons organisations will have a strong voice in the process. I know that from the interim the midterm review of the National Disability Inclusion Strategy, there was a real concern that the findings of the consultation process indicated many people with disabilities were simply unaware of the National Disability Inclusion Strategy. So I wonder, what is the plan for communication, for ensuring that, in fact, that people with disabilities will be given the opportunity to have a voice within this process, that we don't see just too much bureaucracy. I often think, you know, in terms of this sector, there are so many organisations providing such valuable services. Loads of other people have spoken about this, many of them voluntary, staffed by voluntary people, and yet a lack of perhaps an overall consistency of care and of provision of services, and again a feeling that too many people are falling between the cracks. And I know you're both very well aware of that, and I do appreciate your commitment to improving the situation, but I think that's a very important point, that in this process we don't leave anyone behind. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah.